And case in point, we're going to look at the receiving duos in the NFC East now that George Pickens is there. Let's start with your New York Giants, because it could have been Malik Nabers and George Pickens.
I know.
That could be pretty potent.
It sounds good. Good. But it also could sound, knowing Malik Nabers just a little from what we viewed in this year, it could also be a disaster. So I'm not sure we'd want it either as a Giant fan right now. We got enough stuff going on in our organization.
So, George Pickens, fortunately, he wouldn't have wanted number 11, but he would have been calling up Y.A. Tittle's family asking for number 14. So you got Malik Nabers and Wan'Dale Robinson, and we're going to apply a grade to the duos in each of the four teams in the NFC East. What grade would you give to that 1-2 punch at the receiver position for the Giants?
Well, it's a pretty good group here, and this is one that's a little bit like, Wan'Dale Robinson's not a household name in our country yet or anything like that. I think he's better than maybe a person that doesn't pay attention to the Giants realizes. And if they watch the game, he'd go, "Oh, damn, this Wan'Dale Robinson's a pretty damn good player." But is he at the point of like some of the other guys we're going to talk about that are superstars that you have to double and make sure you give extra attention to, and the whole offense is focused around them? No, he's not that kind of guy. Nabers is that guy, right? I mean, we know Nabers showed that he's got the ability to be a superstar. He has the ability to be maybe the best receiver in football here in the next 2 or 3 years.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. So this whole George Pickens trade has really made the NFC East a little bit more interesting this year. And definitely the NFC East now is full of some pretty damn good wide receivers. Probably the most out of any division, I would think, off the top of my head. But I definitely think you got to start with the Giants at number 4. And I give them a C+. I think Chris Sims is a little bit generous. I get it, he's a little bit biased. That's his team. But other than Malik Nabers, that's it. I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of Wan'Dale Robinson. He's a fine player, I guess, but he's not a guy that's going to put up 1,000 yards. He's not a guy that's going to scare you if you're another team. Now, Nabers is an ascending player. He's probably got top 5 wide receiver potential in the NFL. I don't think he's there yet, but he's definitely ascending and he's getting better. But to me, a C, if a C is average, right, and you have one elite receiver and you really don't have an elite second receiver. So to me, that's like a C+ grade, maybe a 6 out of 10 if you did a 1 to 10 score. It doesn't really scare me as a defense going up against them. Malik Nabers, legit, but I still think as far as wide receivers, they're just slightly above average, and that's because of Nabers, but really nobody else there scares me. Now let's go to the next one.
I'm going to give it a B+. I think that's where I'll go there. I love Terry McLaurin. He can do everything on the football field. Maybe the only negative of him is he's a smaller guy, so he's not going to always be able to big body people on the sideline or 50-50 ball you that way. But he's an amazing football player. I love Deebo Samuel, but Deebo Samuel that we've seen the last 2 years, I can't sit here and just go, "Oh, I definitely think it's a game breaker here. He's definitely going to change things." I know he's going to help Washington out. I get that. But the last 2 years have been underwhelming. You're not going to sit here and just go, "Oh my gosh, he's taken over football. He's been awesome for the 49ers and all that." No, it hasn't been up to those capabilities.
All right, guys. So Washington's an interesting team. They went out and they acquired Deebo Samuel this off season from the 49ers. Now, to me, why did they give up on Deebo? 49ers, it's a very smart organization, and they make a lot of good moves. And the reason is Deebo, as Chris Sims pointed out, has really fell off the last few years. And he's now 29 years old, right? So this year will be 29. But if you come here and you look at some of his career stats, in 2021 he had the 1,400 yard receiving season. He was dynamic that year. He was a force. He was great. Definitely one of the best wide receivers in football that year. And he had a bunch of rushing yards. 2022, 2023, he was decent. He was still dynamic. Look, he was still putting up those rushing yards. But last year, I really felt like he just fell off the wagon. He did not look the same. I know he wasn't healthy, but he's got a lot of tread on his tires. The way the 49ers used him, they just ran him into the ground, and then they discarded him. And now he'll go to the Commanders. And now I do like Terry a lot for the Commanders, but to me, Debo is on the decline, right? He's coming down now on the decline. And I think that it's not a very scary wide receiver duo for me. I would have rathered the Commanders, if I was a Commander fan, to go out and get a DK Metcalf or to go out and get a George Pickens. DK Metcalf on that team, now that would be scary, right? But they went out and they got Debo, and I think that's based on what he's done in the past, but I don't think currently he's the same player. So to me, I'm looking at this, and I'm still at a C+ range for the Commanders wide receiver duo. They have a legit number one, Terry. I got nothing but respect for him. But Terry is also 29 years old. He's only had about 1,000 yards last year, maybe closer to 1,100. But he's 29 too, and he's on the second half of his career. So to me, it's the oldest wide receiver duo in the NFC East, and it's on the decline if you really look at it. Now, Terry is still legit number one, nothing but respect. That's why I give them the grade I'm giving them. I'm not sold that Debo still has it. We'll see what he can do. If I don't believe he's going to rush that much. I don't believe he's got that burst anymore. So we'll see what happens. But they have him having a little bit of a bounce back season. I'm curious to see if that plays out that way. But right now, I give them a C+.
The newest combo, the one we've been discussing the last 2 days, CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens. It's an incomplete for now.
Yeah.
But what grade do you think these two are going to merit?
I'm gonna give it an A-. I'm gonna say an A-. That's where I'll go. CeeDee Lamb is a phenomenal football player, right? He's not one of my favorites. He's not a guy necessarily that's got the 3 rockets up his ass that you could just throw a slant to and he's going to run 80 yards for a touchdown and do all that. But he does everything well. He is big. He does run well. And he does have good yards after the catch, even though it's not like totally crazy explosive. And we see George Pickens, it's a similar guy. That's what's cool about them. They got a similar body makeup, a similar style in which they run, and they're going to pose problems for people.
All right, guys. So I really think Chris Sims has it right here. He's got them at an A-. I definitely think that's where I see it. It is really going to be a dynamic duo. These two wide receivers, they're both young still. CeeDee Lamb's, 26? He still put up 1,200 yards last year. The year before, he had almost 1,800 yards. So he still could do it. I think last year he took a step back because he was really the only person defenses had to worry about. And now that you add Pickens, now you got 2 guys, and that really will open things up on offense. The thing Dallas is still missing is the run game. I'm not sold on the run game, but at wide receiver now they got 2 good top number 1 type wide receiver threats, and I think that they can be very, very effective. So obviously now you got Dak Prescott coming back from injury. And he's 31, 32, aging quarterback. But I do expect Dak to have a bounce back season. I expect now that they have George Pickens in the mix, it could go very well. The only thing you got to watch is the locker room stuff with Pickens, right? Obviously, I don't know all the details of that, but obviously there was something, because why would Pittsburgh basically give him away for nothing, and why wouldn't any other team in the NFL want him? I mean, a 3rd-round pick for a 24-yard a 24-year-old wide receiver one, who's possibly ascending. I don't know. There's something wrong there. I don't know what it is. But when I look at it from the Cowboys' point of view, a third-round pick basically is getting you another legitimate wide receiver who can give teams problems. And it's a low-risk situation. If it doesn't work, they just don't bring him back next year. And, yeah, so what? They lose a third-round pick. Maybe they get a comp pick for him the year after. Bada bing, bada boom. So bottom line is, guys, I do think Dallas has the second best wide receiver duo in the NFC East.
On to the Eagles with A.J. Brown and DeVonta Smith. Both guys have gotten pretty sizable contracts. Smith got his last year, and then the Eagles turned around and ripped up Browns and gave him another one. They're the Super Bowl champions. They have a damn good quarterback in Jalen Hurts. What grade do you give Brown and Smith?
I mean, wait, you see this right here? Look at this. Oh, a little crick in my neck.
Oh, yeah.
It's from Mike Vrabel right there. A+. I give it an A+. I mean, this is arguably the best duo in football. I mean, it's at least in the conversation. I don't think you'd think I'm crazy. You might say another duo or whatever, but I don't think you're going to go, oh, my God, I can't believe Chris Sims said A.J. Brown and DeVonta Smith were the best duo on football. No, they're what's not to like? They can do whatever they want on the football field. A.J. Brown is one of the three best in the game. I mean, it's catch a slant, can break tackles, see you later, touchdown, run by people, 70-yard bomb, touchdown, catch a screen, break 6 tackles, run away from people, touchdown. DeVonta Smith is similar, except maybe he's not going to break the tackles as much, but he's a better route runner. I mean, we've showed throwing charts and spray charts from the Eagles throughout the year. I mean, if it's one-on-one, it's just throw the ball up to them. Oh, hey, we just throw it up. Oh, hey, 40-yard gain. Hey, 40-yard gain. Oh, here's a slant. Oh, he ran for 25. Like, I mean, they're phenomenal. They're game changers. That's why they're indefensible, right? It's part of the reason why people think Jalen Hurts is better than what he is, because it's like, wait, we can't stop the run. We can't stop the pass. Everything's easy that way. I mean, they're top-notch. They are in the convo for the best duo in the game.
And finally, you get to the Super Bowl champs, the Philadelphia Eagles, who have the best wide receiver duo in the NFL. I think the only team that would come close, or you can make an argument with, in my opinion, is the Cincinnati. But I think it's the best wide receiver duo in the NFL. They're still young. And bottom line is Smitty would be a number one on pretty much any other team in the NFL, except for maybe a handful. And, you know, A.J. Brown, to me, top 3 wide receiver in the NFL. I could make an argument that he's the number one. But the thing is with these two guys is the Eagles are a run-first team, so their stats have taken a hit. But, man, when they need to use them, they're there, and they can pretty much do anything that you need them to do. Go deep, short yards, contested catches, whatever you want. Those guys are going to deliver, and it's just a great wide receiver duo. Now let's also look at the rankings of the NFC East wide receivers. And I'm just going through X and looking at some of these, and you know, okay, this guy got A.J. Brown, CeeDee Lamb at 1A, 1B. He's got Malik at 3, Smitty at 4, Terry McLaurin at 5, Pickens at 6, Debo at 7, Wandell at 8. Close. This isn't too far off, but I'll give you mine in a second. I think this guy's got Neighbors at 1, I think that's delusional. I mean, way ahead of himself. No, Neighbors maybe at some point will be the number 1. He's got a lot of potential, but he's still, he's still young, he's still ascending, but he's not there yet. Okay, so that's a bunch of crap, that ranking there. CeeDee Lamb at 1, McLaurin at 2. No, McLaurin's not at 2. I'm sorry. All right, so let's go to my wide receiver rankings. I got A.J. Brown at 1. Okay, A.J. Brown at 1. I don't think it's really debatable. And then I know it's going to be controversial, but I got Smitty at 2. And the reason Smitty doesn't get the credit that he deserves is because he's got to play next to A.J. Brown, and it's a run-first defense. But he's still going to put up 1,000 yards. And he doesn't get a lot of opportunities, but when he does, he delivers, he makes them. If you put Smitty on another team, such as Dallas, he would put up a lot better numbers, and he would deliver. Smitty is a big-time player, big-time wide receiver, and so is A.J. Brown. To me, Smitty is vastly underrated in this league, because he's next to A.J. Brown as the number 2. I think he's a top 10 wide receiver in football. I'll argue anybody on that, but I'm sure people won't like that. Most people probably put CeeDee Lamb there, who I am a CeeDee Lamb fan. I got him at 3, and I wanted the Eagles to draft CeeDee Lamb when he was there, but the Cowboys took him, and then I wanted us to go Jefferson. We ended up taking Jalen Reagor. But the thing with that was that actually helped the Eagles in the long run, because the Eagles really reevaluated their drafting and haven't really made too many big mistakes since. In fact, their last 4 drafts have been phenomenal. So the bottom line is Neighbors is at 4. The top 5 receivers in this division are very scary. I mean, they're all very good. Neighbors at 4. Neighbors is at 4. That's where he's at. I do think over the next couple of years he could go up to 1. He's got that kind of ability. He's just not there yet. Terry, he's a stud, and he's a big time receiver. I got nothing but respect for the guy, but he is 29, so he is not going to get better. He's going to get worse as every year goes on. Pickens. Interesting player. A lot of potential. He's only 24 years old. I don't know what the locker room issues was with this guy. I still don't understand why Pittsburgh gave him away for nothing. They would rather pay DK Metcalf, who's a stud, $30 million, and pay this guy a couple million. It makes no sense to me, other than this guy's just a pain in the ass in the locker room, and he's causing problems. And that's the risk that Dallas will have this year. But I assume he's going to be on his best behavior, and I really think Pickens is going to have a big year this year. Really big year I expect him to have. Debo, like I said, at 7. I don't know what he's got left. Doesn't really look like he's got a lot left to me, but we'll see if he has a bounce back year. If he does, it'll be very good for Washington. But I do think Washington missed the boat. They could have had DK Metcalf or Pickens, and that would have been scary. And imagine if Washington got Pickens, Dallas would have been screwed, because they wouldn't have had the opportunity to get Pickens for basically nothing. So Washington made a big error this year, in my opinion. They should have went after Pickens and could have stopped Cowboys from getting in. Debo doesn't scare me. I don't think he scares a lot of people. I think he's old, kind of washed up. So we'll see. And then Wan'Dale Robinson, solid average player, but that's about it. Anyways, guys, what are your rankings? Let me know down below, and I'll talk to you guys later.